Hi, this is Keith, and I'm here with my second video in my How the Government Should Work series. And I'm doing this series to show you how the government should work, and hopefully by contrast you'll see how it's not working well right now. This video is about vision and messaging, and there's a variety of ways that politicians and candidates use vision and messaging to express their goals, their ideas, their ideology. Probably the simplest is the slogan. A slogan should be short, catchy, and memorable. It should also not be confusing, have multiple meanings, or require explanation. And finally, it should be measurable. In other words, there should be a way for a consumer of a slogan to decide if the candidate eventually fulfills the slogan. An example of a slogan from advertising, for example, is "Everything's better with Bluebonnet on it." And that was a great slogan because it was simple, catchy. The rhyming part of it made it memorable, and you could actually measure it. You could take food and eat it with and without Bluebonnet on it and decide if everything was actually better with Bluebonnet on it. And so it kind of met all the criteria. Another slogan that was considered one of the best of all time by most critics was President Obama's 2008 campaign slogan, "Hope and Change." The truth is, from a voter standpoint, even though all his voters loved it, it's not a great slogan. You can't measure it. You can't decide if he's actually fulfilling it. You can't even decide what it actually means. Does it mean you should have hope and change? That he's going to bring you hope and change? You know, blah, blah, blah. And it's also just kind of seems odd to me because in the last 20 or 30 years, every time I vote, I'm voting for hope and change. The campaign slogan that I've chosen for my inevitable successful run for president is "Grow the middle class." I believe it's clear, concise, and measurable, most importantly. It'd be easy for a voter to decide after 4 years of my presidency whether I've actually grown the middle class or not grown the middle class. And so therefore it meets all the different criteria. I've compared my slogan based upon the criteria I gave you earlier against President Trump's successful campaign slogan of "Make America Great Again." And you can see that even though it was a successful slogan, it doesn't necessarily meet the criteria of a good slogan, meaning that you can't measure it, and it had a unclear meaning that led many minority voters to believe that, you know, when was America great? And so therefore it didn't appeal to all voters. It turned off certain classes of voters, and therefore it even though it was very successful, was not necessarily good. I'm throwing this chart in here of historically bad slogans just for fun. There's some really bad ones in there, and I just thought I'd throw it out there for you. The next two charts are just different types of messaging and vision. It's just the next level, the next kind of bigger part of messaging, which is actually your presidential message. And then you can go to something larger, which is an elevator pitch, which is even longer, about 30 seconds. And then even longer than that, you have campaign speeches, campaign events, things like that, where you might have a message that's 30 minutes long. The most important thing to look for in presidential messaging is consistency. Does their slogan say the same thing as their campaign speech? Does the slogan say the same thing as their 30-second soundbite? And are they all consistent, measurable, and believable, most importantly? The final question I want to leave you with is, when you're trying to decide to vote, is the messaging you're seeing, is the vision you're seeing, is it clear? Could you repeat it in 10 seconds what the slogan is? And then if you repeated it, could you then dissect it and say, is it measurable? Does it actually say something? Does it lead to actionable outcomes? And that's the kind of the point of this short video, is just be a good consumer and look at the slogans and the messaging of your candidates. And I also wanted to introduce my slogan for my presidential candidacy. So with those done, the next video will focus on conduct, transparency, ethics, and things of that sort. Again, kind of some boilerplate stuff I need to get out of the way before I dive into policy issues and things of that sort. So that's it. Again, I'm a centrist, and I'm boycotting the Democratic and Republican parties.